I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw, I didn't want to put him down early. You all know I was handcuffed. I don't want to say anything that I will be regretting in the future. But all I can say now is the first 20 seconds was enough for me to end Jake Paul.
I don't know if enough has been made of the fact that, I mean, it was absolutely devastating. But the fact that he had awareness immediately to go like he looked at the crowd like, oh, shit. Like, wow.
He goes,
it wasn't like,
cracked.
Yeah.
I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then eventually just deal with the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to connect with a bomb.
Yeah.
And breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah.
Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best. And I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up. And I take my hat.
When you step back and examine this fight closely, it doesn't feel ordinary. Something about it seems off. And that's where the conspiracy-minded questions begin to surface.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasized, listen guys, take this as long as you can?
So the bottom line is you take nothing from this. It was an entertainment product designed to get Netflix
But last week you said it wasn't scripted.
I think that ultimately Anthony Joshua's approach to it was what I said at the beginning. What I said was...
Now you're telling us Netflix passed on a message, guys.
I'm saying that Netflix's modus operandi is to operate with this kind of principle, which is stretch the entertainment. Anthony Joshua goes in. I framed the question to these boys that have been in the ring. Could he go in there on an under-aroused mindset because he knows what he's dealing with? No. He goes in as a killer. He went in there with a mindset, knowing what he was dealing with, and took his time and had no reason to do anything other than get him out of there when he felt like.
You start by noticing the small details, like the moment Jake stuck his tongue out during the Tyson fight. Then he does it again here. Suddenly, people begin to question it. Is this just a signature move or some kind of signal? That's when the rumors start to take hold, suggesting that a potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup may have been following a pre-written script.
People will criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Why? Come on.
Because, like, we're elite fighters. Like, so I put myself in the shoes of a coach. If I was coaching Anthony Joshua and he went 6 rounds with Jake Paul, I would get him back in the gym tomorrow, give him a bit of a beating, and we're getting straight back to work because I'll be like, how are you letting this kid take you 6 rounds? Are you crazy? But I can't go back in time.
And look, I get it. Netflix doesn't tell short stories. They build seasons, slow burns, episode arcs, cliffhangers, dramatic pauses. That familiar, are you still watching? Energy. The theory is that Netflix wanted rounds, tension, dialogue, and gloves. Not a single scene knockout.
Slipped out the ring with the cornermen. Slipped out the ring and he thought, wow, this is for real. And even a little jab that just gently missed him, you could see him thinking, what is this about? So it was a case of survival. And to me, I didn't want Anthony Joshua to knock him out, if I'm honest with you. I thought, you've got to make this kid have a reality check. And that's what he actually did, because Jake Paul himself said, I was shattered. You know, this guy, everything I thought I could do, I couldn't do. Boxing looks so easy on the TV. Boxing looks so, matter of fact, no big deal. Until you get punched, and then reality kicks in. And Jake Paul, he has done a brilliant job of promoting.
And maybe that approach worked before because, if we're being honest, Tyson seemed to stick to the plan. Joshua is a different story, different fighter, different mindset. AJ doesn't stream. He doesn't binge. He clocks in, does the job, and clocks out. So if there was a script, Joshua probably read it once, nodded politely, and tossed it in the trash. Because the moment AJ stopped pacing and started punching, the entire production was cancelled. No season finale. No dramatic build-up. Just a clean right hand, and the pretty boy's jaw taking an unscheduled trip south.
Here at the after party, I have to be honest, the vibes are way more chill than I thought. He's doing great. How are you feeling?
Never been better.
Yeah, he's absolutely crushing it.
Bring out the vodka.
Yeah, we're doing great in here. A double break in his lower jaw.
Oh, you can show.
Here, look.
Science.
So science is right there and there. The way I see it, well, you'll be back in a couple weeks getting ready to fight Canelo.
Canelo In 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Canelo, get ready. We're coming for you.
And that's the funniest part of all. Because if this was supposed to be scripted, boxing clearly didn't get the memo. Heavyweights don't rehearse. One guy tried to perform, the other showed up with physics. And Netflix learned the same lesson everyone else eventually does. You can plan the episode all you want, but once the bell rings, the sport writes its own ending.
Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night, and so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience, and so, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull, and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain, even bleeding, but it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia like Alzheimer's disease and even Parkinson's.
And right after all the script talk, tongue theories, and Netflix season speculation, Eddie Hearn steps in like the one guy who actually read the contract and brought a stopwatch. Listening to him, you can't help but think, yeah, this is the most grounded voice we've heard all night. Eddie's basically saying, everyone relax. AJ wasn't chasing a highlight reel. He was boxing like a grown man. He admits it plainly. Sure, we thought Joshua might get him out of there sooner, but those extra rounds weren't part of some grand conspiracy. They were experience minutes. And AJ took them calmly, without panic.
To get him out of there, he was just like, okay, this is how it's going to be. I'll just cut him off eventually. I'll beat him up and I'll break him down. What he said he would do is he would break him down and he would, finish him in boxing. And he's probably done both of those. I mean, definitely did the first part. But the injury is a shocker, and it's not one that you can necessarily bounce back from. Like, I know that at the moment it's like, but especially when you're not, well, you got lots of other stuff in your life as well, you know. So, but I think Jake Paul deserves a huge amount of respect because he did it in the first place, and he landed some shots.
And I actually respect how honest he is about Jake, because he's not hyping him up for clicks. He's just being fair. Jake moved. Jake survived. Jake landed a couple of from the heavens right hands, and AJ ate them like a warm-up set. When Eddie laughs off the claim that Jake wobbled Joshua, that's promoter sarcasm at its finest. Like, sure, maybe AJ blinked. Maybe he adjusted his mouthpiece. But wobbled? Relax. What really lands is Eddie's point. What did you expect Jake to do? Stand still and volunteer for the highlight? This wasn't bravery versus cowardice. It was survival versus physics.
If they won rounds, MVP would have gone, look! Yeah, definitely. But so I don't believe he won any rounds on the scorecards. Yeah. But listen, maybe he did, I don't know. But he definitely didn't wobble AJ. But he did land. He landed his biggest shots. Yeah. With a couple of, like right hands from the gods. But he's just not big enough. He doesn't punch hard enough to I'm sure it got his attention, but he certainly wasn't wobbled. But he did really well. And by the way, people moaning, I think it was Sergio Mora, who, listen, I love Sergio, but he's like, he's a disgrace, like he ran. It's like, mate, what? Yeah. Like he also held his feet and threw. He didn't not throw any punches,
And the funniest moment of all is Eddie apologizing for looking smug. Which is ironic because AJ winning was never the part people were mad about. What bothered everyone was that it didn't end quickly enough to feel comfortable. Eddie sums it up without trying to steal the spotlight. Jake earned respect for stepping in. AJ earned respect for staying patient. And the internet earned another week of arguing over rounds that nobody truly dominated. That's boxing in 2025, messy, loud, dramatic, and somehow we're all still glued to it.
But I give Jake I've said in every interview, full respect to Jake Paul. Yeah. And, I think what he done was admirable. So I would like to apologise to Mrs. Paul. I didn't intentionally look smug. I couldn't have been smug because it didn't play out like I thought it was going to play out. I thought we were just going to flatline him in a couple of rounds. So there's nothing to be smug about, but we won and.
And right after Eddie Hearn brings that calm, accountant with a punch clock energy, Antonio Tarver steps in like a veteran who's seen every version of this movie and already knows how it ends. Listening to Tarver, you find yourself nodding along. He's not disrespecting Jake, but he's definitely not romanticizing it either. He gives Jake credit for surviving, for thinking, for moving, for landing a few clean shots, then calmly reminds you that thinking and surviving are not the same thing as winning.
Even though he wasn't as effective as he probably wanted to be, and I knew there was a distance between experience, and that's just what we saw tonight.
How long do you think it would take for Jake Paul to spend in a boxing gym to overcome that experience that he didn't have tonight? How long would he need to train?
I don't know. He probably got to still keep picking his opponents, getting better, stay in the gym. But like I said, bro, when I looked at tonight, AJ was a huge fight. But if they want to really shoot a movie, bro, it's Antonio Tarver and Jake Paul, and I know the whole world knows.
When Tarver says you can't just run forever, that line lands. It's boxing law, not opinion. You can buy time, you can buy rounds, but eventually the ring shrinks, and experience cashes the check. I love how he frames AJ, too, because he doesn't let anyone pretend this was a Fury-level prep camp. This was professional business, handled against a guy who wasn't giving him easy traps. And Tarver calling out that one right-hand hunting mentality? Spot on. Once that Woodley-style punch became the plan instead of a weapon, the ceiling was always there. If you love boxing, powerful punches, and real fight breakdowns, make sure to subscribe to VIP Punch. Hit the like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with true boxing fans. VIP Punch, where every punch matters.